A day that feels normal for most people on Earth. Morning commuters move through busy streets. Students sit in classrooms, waiting for lessons to start. Workers in offices type on keyboards, check emails, or sip their tea. Nothing seems unusual. The world is loud but familiar. Everyone thinks it is just another ordinary day. No one could imagine that in a few minutes the entire human race will witness something that will change their view of the universe forever. It happens so suddenly that people do not even have time to think. Screens everywhere begin to glitch. Phone displays freeze. TV channels switch on their own. Digital billboards stop showing ads and instead show a black screen. At first, people think it is a glitch or maybe a prank. But then every device shows the same strange symbol glowing in a cold blue color. It looks like a circle with sharp lines running through it. No one recognizes it. No one knows where it came from. But the symbol appears everywhere at the same time, in every country, in every language. People stop what they are doing. Some stand frozen. Some grab their phones, confused. Some try to restart their devices, but the symbol stays. Then, slowly, the symbol fades, and a new image replaces it. It is not a cartoon. It is not a film. It is not anything anyone has seen before. A huge metallic throne room appears on the screens, filled with strange lights and sharp pillars that look like they were carved out of metal itself. At the center sits a tall figure, armored from head to toe in dark silver plates. Its shape is not fully human. Its helmet hides its face. It sits with a cold stillness that feels heavy even through a screen. A voice echoes through every device. It is calm, deep, and unnatural. It does not speak in any human language, yet every person understands the message clearly, as if it is being translated inside their minds. The voice says it belongs to the Galactic Empire. Many people think it is a movie trailer or some kind of strange promotion. But the voice continues with such emotionless confidence that people slowly realize this is not fiction. It is real. The Empire claims it has ruled thousands of star systems for ages, and that Earth has finally been noticed. It says Earth will soon receive an official message about its place in the wider galaxy. The figure then declares that it will show Earth something important, something it expects humans to understand clearly. The screen changes again. The camera moves through space, showing a massive planet from orbit. Viewers can see oceans, mountains, and long shining cities across the surface. At first, it looks beautiful. It even seems advanced. People watching feel a strange excitement mixed with awe. This is the first alien world humans have ever seen with their own eyes, and it is more beautiful than most had imagined. But that moment of wonder does not last. Armadas of ships suddenly appear around the planet. Dark, enormous, sharp-edged ships that move like a silent wave of steel. Light glints off their armor. They are too many to count. The alien world below seems unaware of what is about to happen. On Earth, people lean closer to their screens, unsure if this is real. The voice from before speaks again, explaining this is a world that refused the Empire's rule. It calls them a stubborn species. It says the Empire has waited long enough. People begin to feel uneasy. Many hope this is just a threat, a scare tactic, and nothing terrible will happen. But then everything changes in a way no one can forget. The ships open their bays, and countless beams of bright energy shoot downward toward the planet. But the broadcast does not show gore or graphic destruction. Instead, it shows large regions of the planet suddenly turning dark, as if lights are going out. The cities glow one moment and vanish the next. The colors on the surface fade. The entire planet dims rapidly, almost like someone slowly lowering a giant lantern's flame. The broadcast is designed to show only the scale, not the details. But even without details, the meaning is clear. An entire civilization is being erased. On Earth, people are silent. Some cover their mouths. Some tremble. Some drop their phones. It is not the visuals alone. It is the feeling behind them. The cold, emotionless way it is shown. The complete certainty of the Empire's actions. The Empire does not sound angry. It does not sound proud. It speaks like this is normal to them. Just another day. Just another planet. The broadcast shows the planet from far away as more regions lose their light. Whole continents darken. The oceans turn still. Finally, the world stops glowing at all. It becomes a quiet, powerless sphere floating in space. The Empire's voice then announces a simple message. This is the consequence of refusing order. People everywhere feel a mixture of horror, helplessness, and disbelief. But there is another emotion to anger. Deep, rising anger. The idea that a civilization could end another world so casually makes something shift inside people. For the first time in human history, everyone is watching the same thing at the exact same moment. Every age, every country, every belief, every language. And everyone feels the same punch to the heart. The broadcast ends as suddenly as it started. All screens go black for a moment. Then normal signals return. But no one cares. No one returns to their tasks. Some schools cancel classes. Some offices shut down early. News channels flood with experts trying to explain what happened. Governments rush to make statements. Scientists check the signals again and again, hoping it was a hoax. But the data does not lie. The source came from far beyond Earth's reach. The event was real. In living rooms, families sit together in shock. Many ask each other the same question. Why did they show this to us? Parents struggle to explain what happened to their children. Many people step outside for air, staring at the sky as if something might appear. Some pray, some cry quietly. Some sit still for hours, unable to process the scale of what they saw. The global internet becomes chaotic. Videos of the broadcast spread everywhere. Millions of comments appear in minutes. Some people panic, thinking the Empire will come to Earth next. Some argue the broadcast was meant to frighten humans into surrender. Many others believe it was a warning, a deliberate message to test humanity's reaction. Late into the night, an emergency global meeting is called. Leaders from every major nation join a secure call. The scientists who studied the signal explained that the alien world shown in the broadcast has indeed gone dark. Telescopes confirm its surface energy levels dropped sharply. Experts link the symbols shown at the start of the broadcast to several unknown radio patterns detected in past years. It becomes clear that Earth was being watched long before today. Some leaders argue Earth should try to communicate peacefully. Others say the Empire showed its true nature and cannot be trusted. A few fear that if humans resist, the Empire will treat Earth the same way it treated the alien planet. The room is filled with tension, fear, and uncertainty. Meanwhile, people across the world gather in groups outside buildings, in public squares, in parks. They talk, they debate, they speculate. Many stay awake all night, replaying the broadcast in their minds. The grief for the lost alien civilization feels strange but heavy. Even though humans never met those beings, the loss feels real. 10 billion lives gone in minutes. 10 billion dreams, memories, families, friendships erased. The number is too big to truly imagine, but the weight of it sits in everyone's chest. As midnight passes, something slowly changes. The fear does not disappear, but it mixes with a growing determination. Humans realize that if the Empire can do this once, it can do it again. And if Earth does nothing, Earth might be next. People talk about unity, protection, preparation. They say that the time for small arguments between countries is over. What they saw today proves that humanity must stand together, not out of pride, but out of survival. That night becomes one of the most important nights in Earth's history. It is the night when every person, young or old, rich or poor, understands that the universe is not empty, not silent, and definitely not safe. It is a night filled with fear, but also a spark of something powerful, a spark that will grow into a fire in the days ahead. Continues from the moment Earth witnessed the broadcast. The shock did not fade quickly. Even by the next morning, people around the world still felt uneasy. Offices opened late. Schools reported low attendance. Many people stayed home, not because they were sick, but because they were scared of what might happen next. It was like the whole world had suddenly become aware of how small and fragile it really was. In homes, cafes, buses, trains, and workplaces, people kept talking about the same thing: the Empire's message and the destroyed alien world. Some tried to convince themselves it was fake, but more and more scientists confirmed that it was real. Satellite observatories detected the same patterns. Telescopes located the planet and saw that its surface energy had dropped in the exact way shown in the broadcast. There was no doubt anymore. The Empire was real, and what they showed was not a movie, not an illusion, not a trick. It was the truth. By afternoon, every major country leader received a request to join a global emergency meeting. Usually, such meetings took weeks to plan, but this time it was arranged within hours. Everyone understood the situation was bigger than any individual nation. Some leaders looked tired, some confused, some deeply worried. Many had barely slept. They knew the whole world expected answers. When the meeting began, the room fell silent. A scientist from one of the leading observatories spoke first. She explained how the signal matched several unexplained radio patterns that had been recorded in past years. At the time, many believed those signals were just unusual space noise, but now they realized the Empire had been sending low-level transmissions long before the broadcast. The scientists said calmly that this meant Earth had been observed for quite a while. Another expert, a communication analyst, explained that the translation humans heard wasn't done by anyone on Earth. The message itself had some kind of universal decoding mechanism embedded in it, which made people understand it in their own languages. This technology was far beyond anything humans had. This detail alone made many leaders feel the weight of the situation more deeply. After the scientists shared their findings, the discussion quickly turned to the core question: what should Earth do? The room became filled with tension. One leader argued that Earth must respond peacefully and send a message of cooperation. He believed that maybe the Empire simply wanted order, and if Earth showed respect, things might remain peaceful. Another leader strongly disagreed, saying that the Empire had shown its nature clearly by destroying an entire world with no hesitation. Why would we trust a force that uses fear as introduction? He said. Others murmured in support. Another leader suggested preparing defenses quietly, without showing hostility. She believed Earth needed time to understand the Empire, to study their technology, and to gather more information before making any loud moves. Another voice warned that hiding preparations might provoke the Empire even more. The discussion grew more intense. Some feared that if Earth acted too boldly, the Empire would take it as a challenge. Others argued that if Earth acted too weak, the Empire would crush the planet instantly. Every argument had a point, but no answer felt safe. There was no guiding map for handling something like this. Humans had never dealt with another cosmic civilization before. Meanwhile, outside the meeting rooms, ordinary people across the world reacted in their own ways. In some cities, crowds gathered in large public squares, holding signs calling for unity. In others, people stood quietly with candles, mourning the lives lost on the alien world. Many families gathered in living rooms, watching news reports together, talking openly about fear for the first time in their lives. Some comforted their children, promising them everything would be okay, even though they weren't sure themselves. A popular video spread across the internet showing a young boy asking his grandfather if Earth would end the same way the alien planet did. The grandfather hugged him and said, "Not if we stand together." The clip touched millions and became a symbol of the mood across the world. Even entertainment platforms changed. Late-night hosts abandoned jokes. News anchors spoke with softer voices. Influencers posted videos urging people to stay calm. People who normally disagreed on almost everything suddenly found themselves in rare agreement. This was a moment when humanity had to unite. Across scientific centers, researchers worked day and night, studying every frame of the broadcast. They examined the ships, their shapes, the energy flashes, the formation of the fleet, and even the strange design of the throne room. Experts in alien linguistics, physics, astronomy, engineering, and computer science shared data with each other faster than ever before. Walls between nations began to soften. Countries that never shared data before now sent files freely. Understanding that this was no time for secrets in underground facilities and remote labs. Defense experts gathered old plans that once seemed impossible. For years, humanity had dreamed of building stronger shields, faster crafts, and more advanced detectors. But money, politics, and disagreements always slowed progress. Now, with one broadcast, all those barriers fell. Humanity realized it could no longer afford slow progress. The threat above them was too big. The deadline was too unknown. Even small nations that usually stayed out of global conflicts agreed to participate in new alliances. Representatives from different cultures, backgrounds, and beliefs sat at the same table. No one cared about old disputes anymore, not when a greater danger hovered somewhere above the stars. During the second half of the day, Earth received another signal. It was short, cold, and direct. The Empire declared that Earth would soon receive an invitation to join their order. The tone was not friendly. It was a warning. The message ended with a single line: "Submission is the path of survival." The phrase chilled everyone who heard it. Across social media, millions of people shared their reactions. Some became fearful, convinced the Empire would destroy Earth if humans resisted. Others felt their anger grow stronger, saying the Empire had no right to dictate Earth's future. The phrase, "we will not submit," started trending across the internet. Artists began creating posters, banners, and short animations showing Earth standing tall against the Empire's shadow in research centers. Engineers worked on ideas for new detectors to watch for incoming signals or ships. They argued, cooperated, fixed designs, broke prototypes, rebuilt them, and refused to rest. Something new was growing inside them, a sense of duty not to themselves, but to everyone on Earth. Back in the global emergency meeting, one major decision finally took shape. Earth would form a single council to deal with the Empire. Not a temporary group, not a small committee, but a permanent global defense alliance. The idea was bold and had never happened before in human history. Some feared it would be impossible. But after hours of discussion, disagreements, and long pauses, it was approved. For the first time, humanity took a united step. Not because of power, not because of politics, but because survival demanded it. When the announcement was shared with the public, something amazing happened. People across the world applauded. They cheered. Some cried out of relief. At last, Earth was doing something together, not apart. As night fell again, cities glowed like islands of light beneath the stars. People watched the sky differently now. They no longer saw it as a peaceful space full of distant wonders. Now they saw it as a doorway, one that a powerful empire could walk through at any time. But they also saw something else. something new within themselves. The broadcast that was meant to scare humanity ended up doing the opposite. It awakened something powerful. Even though the threat was enormous, even though the Empire's technology was far beyond anything humans had, the people of Earth did not break. They did not hide. They did not fall apart. Instead, they stood up. People who had never met suddenly felt connected. Strangers felt like allies. Nations felt like partners. The feeling was not simple hope and not blind courage. It was determination, a kind that grows when people realize they must protect their home, their families, their future. The Empire had shown its power. Earth had seen it clearly. But in return, the Empire also helped humans discover something inside themselves they had forgotten. The strength that comes when humanity stands as one dot as the world prepared for whatever would come next. One thought echoed across millions of minds. If the Empire expects Earth to bow, it does not understand humans at all. A few days after the world united under the new Global Council, people were still nervous, but the fear that once froze them had now turned into a quiet strength. They went to work. They bought groceries. They checked on their neighbors. But behind every normal action, there was a single thought. The Empire was out there watching. Satellite stations worked nonstop. Scientists barely slept. The defense teams built new sensors with technology once only seen in science fiction drawings. Every country, big or small, contributed something. For the first time, Earth felt like a single giant family preparing for a storm together. On the 7th night after the broadcast, something happened that no one expected. While monitoring deep space near Jupiter, one of the new scanners picked up a weak signal. At first, the team thought it was just noise, maybe a stray wave from a star system far away. But as they filtered the data, the pattern repeated. It wasn't a random wave. It was a distress call. The scientists quickly alerted the Global Council. Within minutes, screens lit up and teams rushed into action. The signal was faint, as if coming from something damaged and barely functioning. It was slowing down too, losing strength with every minute. After decoding the waves, the analysts discovered it was coming from a small vessel drifting near Jupiter's orbit. The first reaction from many people was fear. Could it be the Empire? Was this the beginning of another threat? But when they enhanced the data further, they realized something surprising. The ship did not match any of the Empire's designs shown in the broadcast. In fact, it looked more like the type used by the destroyed alien civilization. This discovery changed everything. The Global Council approved a rescue mission immediately. They could not ignore the chance that someone from the destroyed planet might still be alive. A small team of experienced astronauts was sent up in a fast vessel equipped with new shielding tech developed in the past few days. It was strange. How quickly humans had upgraded their tools. It showed how people worked when survival truly mattered. As the rescue ship approached the drifting object near Jupiter, the astronauts could clearly see the damage. The vessel was cracked along one side, as if it had been hit by a powerful blast. Parts of the hull were missing, and several internal lights flickered weakly through the gaps. The ship looked tired, like it had traveled through something terrible. After securing it carefully, the astronauts brought it back to a safe orbit near Earth. More teams arrived, wearing protective suits, in case the craft carried unknown microbes. When they opened the main hatch, the inside was cold and silent. The air smelled metallic. Dim lights blinked, struggling to stay on. They searched the corridors and found what they hoped for survivors. Not many, only a few. Their bodies were thin, their skin pale, and their movements shaky. They were exhausted, frightened, and clearly traumatized. But they were alive. The Earth teams carefully brought them into medical units specially built for alien life. No one touched them without protection. Everyone moved slowly and with respect. The survivors seemed confused at first. unsure if humans were friends or another threat. But when one of the doctors placed a small device on the table, showing a universal greeting, the survivors recognized it. They relaxed a little, though fear still filled their eyes. Within hours, a translation system was developed by using the patterns from the broadcast, combined with signals from the survivors' own ship. When the first words were finally understood, it felt like a miracle. The survivors spoke softly and slowly. Their voices were weak. They explained that they were from the planet shown in the Empire's broadcast. They had seen everything. Their world had been peaceful, focused on learning, not fighting. They had explorers, scientists, teachers, and builders. They never saw themselves as a threat to anyone, but the Empire viewed them differently. They explained how the Empire approached their world long ago, demanding obedience. Their leaders tried to negotiate, to explain they wished for peace. But the Empire didn't want peace. They wanted complete control. When the alien civilization refused to kneel, the Empire began making their lives difficult, shutting down their supply routes, blocking their communications, and forcing them into dependency. Still, the planet resisted. They believed in freedom. Then the Empire stopped waiting. The survivors described how the fleet arrived without warning, how massive ships appeared in their sky, how their cities dimmed one by one. Their voices trembled as they described the moment their families disappeared from communication channels. But even in that darkness, some ships, including the one the survivors were on, escaped right before the final wave of destruction hit. They ran without direction, without hope, only knowing they might never find another safe world. When they learned Earth saw the destruction live, they were shocked. They never imagined the Empire would broadcast their end to another world. But after thinking about it, they understood. The Empire did it to frighten Earth, the same way they frightened every world before crushing it. Their next words shook everyone listening. They explained that in the Empire's strategy, the broadcast always meant something. Earth was next. The Global Council listened closely. Although they had feared something like this, hearing it confirmed by survivors made it heavier. The survivors also shared something else, information that might help humanity. They explained that the Empire's strength came from a strict command structure. Everything was controlled by a central authority. If that core was disrupted, the Empire's fleets would lose coordination. They also shared details about the Empire's weapons, their communication systems, and the way they detected other worlds. It wasn't complete knowledge, but even small details were priceless to Earth. The aliens explained their own vessel had broken during escape because the Empire used energy pulses to disable fleeing ships. Only one pulse had hit them, but even that nearly tore their vessel apart. The only reason they drifted toward Earth was a mix of chance and the direction their ship fell after losing control. Humanity treated the survivors with respect, giving them shelter, food, and a safe environment. Medical teams worked carefully, studying their biology without hurting them. Cultural experts asked gentle questions, learning about their customs and history. The survivors, though deeply sad, felt comforted that Earth cared for them. They said their people used to believe that kindness was the strongest force in the universe. Seeing Earth's efforts made them believe that spirits still lived somewhere. In return, the survivors continued giving Earth valuable information. They showed diagrams of the Empire's ships. They explained how the Empire tracked signals through space. They shared weak points in the Empire's armor, small flaws that their own people discovered too late. As days passed, Earth scientists combined this new knowledge with their own research. Suddenly, the pieces began to connect. They learned how to improve their shields, how to hide certain energy patterns from the Empire, and how to disrupt potential scans. What would have taken years under normal conditions now took days. In many ways, the survivors became a bridge between Earth and the wider galaxy. They warned humans about the Empire's tactics how they broke worlds, how they manipulated fear, how they made resistance seem impossible. They explained that the Empire always counted on two reactions: panic or surrender. What they never expected was unity. One survivor said in a tired but firm voice, "They see worlds as weak. They never think worlds can stand together. If Earth unites, you are already stronger than they imagine." That sentence spread around the world. People printed it on posters, shared it online, and even painted it on walls. It became a message of encouragement, something that helped Earth gain confidence. As the Global Council continued its work, a new thought formed among many leaders and citizens alike. Maybe Earth didn't have to just defend itself. Maybe Earth could help others, the way Earth helped the survivors. Maybe the Empire wasn't as untouchable as they seemed. The survivors, though still mourning the loss of their home, found hope in that idea. They could not save their own planet, but perhaps they could help save another. The part ends with Earth realizing something profound. They are not alone in the universe, and being alone was never the problem. The problem was silence. And now, thanks to the survivors, that silence has been broken. Earth is no longer blind. Humanity now has knowledge, allies, and a reason stronger than fear. They understand the danger, but they also understand something more important. They still have a chance. When the sun finally rose the next morning, its light felt different, as if the world itself had shifted overnight. The sky looked brighter, the air felt lighter, and even the small sounds around the camp seemed sharper to the ear. But inside, he didn't feel any lighter. The night had left him with too many thoughts, too many questions with no answers. He sat near the entrance of the small shelter they had built. The ground was still cold from the night breeze. He rubbed his hands together and tried to clear his mind, but memories from the previous day kept returning. The strange signals, the uneasy silence from the woods, the way the companion kept glancing at the trees as if expecting something to appear at any moment. And then the sharp warning tone in the companion's voice before they went to sleep. He looked around. The companion was awake too, but standing a little distance away near a fallen tree. It seemed lost in its own thoughts, its posture slightly tense. He wondered if the companion had slept at all. Something about its stillness suggested it had stayed alert the whole night. He stood up and walked toward it. As he approached, the companion turned its head slowly, as if coming back from far away. "You didn't sleep, right?" he asked in a soft voice. The companion paused before shaking its head. "Not much. I needed to watch the field. Things are changing. The patterns are different." He tried to smile, even though worry twisted in his stomach. "That's what you said last night, too." "What does that mean? What patterns?" The companion looked up at the sky before answering. "Movement, sound, air pressure. Very small things, but they tell a bigger story. Something is near us. It is not aggressive, but it is searching." His heart skipped slightly. "Searching for what?" "For you," the companion said quietly. He breathed in slowly, letting the words settle. It wasn't the first time he heard such a thing, but each time the meaning felt heavier. He wasn't someone special. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a leader. He wasn't an expert in anything. He was just a normal person who happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time when everything began. Or maybe it wasn't wrong. Maybe all of this was meant to happen. But he still didn't know why. "How do you know it's looking for me?" he asked again, a little uncertain. "Because of what happened before," the companion replied. "Because you survived the first incident. Because you reacted differently. Because you felt something before the others sensed anything." He looked down at the ground. He remembered the incident clearly, the blast of light, the strange wave of sound that passed through him and left everyone else unconscious. He had been the only one left standing. At first, he thought he was lucky, but then the questions began. Why him? Why only him? He didn't want to think about it anymore, so he changed the subject. So what do we do today? The companion relaxed its shoulders slightly. We move. Not far, but enough to stay ahead. There's a ridge east from here. The view from the top will help me understand the movement better. He nodded. Okay, let's go. They packed quickly, making sure not to leave anything behind. Before leaving, he turned back once more, staring at the small spot where they had rested. It looked peaceful now, nothing like the restless place it had felt during the night. He wondered how nature could hide danger so quietly. The walk toward the ridge took longer than expected. The ground was uneven, and the winter grass brushed against their legs as they moved. Their breath turned into small clouds. The air felt sharper, as if warning them that the world was watching. He tried to keep the mood light by talking. You know, sometimes I think you understand more than you tell me. The companion glanced at him. I tell you what you need to know. That sounds like something someone says when they're hiding things. The companion didn't answer immediately. Then it said, if I told you everything now, the weight would be too much. You are already carrying more than you think. He chuckled softly, trying to push away the tension. You talk as if I'm some hero from those old stories. The companion stopped walking and looked at him with calm eyes. Not a hero, but someone important. Someone chosen by circumstances you don't fully understand yet. He scratched his head awkwardly. Well, I still don't feel like someone important. You don't have to feel it, the companion replied. You just have to keep moving. They continued their journey in quiet steps until they reached the base of the ridge. The climb wasn't too steep, but it required effort. He felt his legs burn halfway up. The companion noticed and slowed its pace. Are you all right? It asked. Yeah? Just tired, he said, wiping sweat from his forehead. Last night wasn't exactly relaxing. The companion's expression softened. I know. But once we reach the top, you'll understand why this place matters. They climbed the last few meters, and when they finally stood at the top, he felt the wind hit his face. It was colder here, stronger, carrying scents from far away. The view spread out endlessly. The hills, the trees, the distant plains, it was all visible from this height. But there was something else, too. A faint shimmer, almost like light bending, hovered far beyond the tree line. It was barely visible, like a heat wave, but in the cold weather it made no sense. He narrowed his eyes. What is that? That is what I wanted to confirm, the companion said. It has been growing for the last 2 days. Is it dangerous? Not directly, but it is connected to what happened to you, and to what is coming. His pulse quickened. So, it's growing because of me? Not because of you, the companion said. Because of the energy that reacted inside you. He swallowed hard. And what does that mean for me? It means, the companion replied gently, that you will feel things before they reach us. As if on cue, a strange feeling rushed through him like a vibration deep inside his chest. It wasn't painful, just unexpected. He took a step back. I felt something, he said quietly. The companion steadied him with a hand on his shoulder. That is exactly what I mean. You can sense the changes before they appear in the world. But why? He asked, almost pleading. Why can I sense it? I will explain soon, the companion said. But before that, there is something you must do. He stared at it nervously. What? You must trust yourself. Even more than you trust me. He looked away, unsure what to say. Trusting himself was never easy. He had always been the type to doubt, to guess, to second-guess. But now he was being asked to rely on instincts he didn't even understand. The companion sensed his hesitation. I know it feels unfair, but you are stronger than you think. He closed his eyes for a moment, breathing in the cold air. When he opened them, the shimmering field far away seemed clearer, like the world wanted him to see it. "Okay," he said softly. "I'll try." They stayed on the ridge for a long time, watching the distant shimmer. The wind brushed against his face, cold but calming. Slowly, the strange vibration inside him faded. They began their descent once the sun moved higher. The companion walked a little ahead, scanning the surroundings with careful eyes. He followed quietly, lost in his thoughts. Halfway down, he asked, "So? If something is searching for me, how long before it finds us?" "That depends," the companion said. "If we keep moving smartly, we have time. But time doesn't last forever." He nodded. "You really like speaking in mysteries, don't you?" The companion stopped and looked at him. "Do you really want the full truth right now?" He hesitated. His chest tightened. He imagined receiving too much information at once and losing the little stability he still had. Maybe. "Not yet," he admitted. The companion turned and continued walking. "Then I will wait. But not for long. You deserve to know." As they reached the bottom of the hill, the light began to change again. The sky grew a little dimmer, even though it wasn't late yet. He noticed it immediately. "Is that normal?" he asked, pointing upward. "No," the companion replied with a firm tone. "Something is shifting again." He felt that inner vibration return stronger this time, like a pulse echoing inside him. "I can feel it," he whispered. The companion stepped closer. "Then stay near me. The next moments may test you." "What kind of moments?" he asked. The companion looked toward the dimming sky, then at him. "The kind that reveal truths." He felt his heartbeat quicken. A mix of fear and curiosity wrapped around him. He didn't know what was coming next, but deep inside, he felt something important was about to unfold, something he couldn't avoid anymore. And without realizing it, he whispered one sentence that felt like the beginning of something much bigger. "I'm ready." The day began quietly, but there was an electricity in the air that everyone could feel. Across cities, towns, and remote villages, people moved with purpose. They no longer walked distractedly through their daily routines. There was a sense that something important was happening, something larger than themselves. The broadcast, the survivors, the warnings from the Empire, all of it had changed the way humans looked at the world and the universe. Now, Earth was awake, and it was ready to act. In command centers around the planet, scientists and leaders worked tirelessly. Every report from satellites, every signal from deep space, every calculation about energy readings was examined and shared. Nothing was left unchecked. People who had once worked alone or in small teams were now connected through a global network, sharing knowledge, ideas, and strategies in real time. There was no time for politics, no time for doubt. Survival demanded unity. The survivors from the destroyed planet were central to these discussions. They had begun to trust humans, and they shared every piece of information they could remember. Their diagrams of ships, their descriptions of energy pulses, and their understanding of the Empire's weaknesses became the foundation for Earth's preparations. While humans had technology, they had never faced anything like this before. But now, with guidance, what had seemed impossible was slowly becoming possible. Earth's leaders made a bold decision. Instead of waiting for the Empire to act, they would take the first step. Not a step of aggression, but a step of defiance. A message was crafted and transmitted to the far reaches of space, using every frequency and every channel the Empire could monitor. The message was simple, firm, and undeniable. Earth will not bow. We choose freedom. When the message left Earth, people across the globe watched and waited. Some felt fear, worried that the Empire's response would be immediate and devastating. Others felt hope, believing that standing together made them stronger than anyone could imagine. Children and adults alike looked up at the sky, imagining distant stars and the invisible eyes that might be watching. The Empire's reaction came swiftly. Enormous fleets appeared in orbit around Earth, just as the survivors had predicted. But this time, humans were not defenseless. Shields powered by newly adapted alien technology rose above cities, protecting entire continents. Detection systems could track every ship, every pulse, every movement in real time. And the weapons designed to disrupt energy systems were ready not for attack, but for defense. For the first time, the Empire faced resistance that it could not immediately crush. The ships that had once seemed invincible now had to navigate carefully. Earth's defensive systems were clever, unpredictable, and coordinated. And for the first time, someone who was supposed to be insignificant to humans showed the galaxy that strength could come from unity, courage, and intelligence, not just size or firepower. While the fleets hovered, waiting to see what Earth would do next, the survivors helped interpret signals from the Empire's command. They could predict movements, anticipate attacks, and offer strategies humans had never considered. This collaboration gave Earth a confidence it had never known before. Ordinary citizens felt it too. People were ready to fight not with weapons, but with determination, creativity, and the courage to stand together. Then something unexpected happened. The Empire did not attack. Instead, it sent a new message, a challenge, a warning, a test. But humans were ready. They responded not with threats, but with evidence. Earth broadcast footage of the Empire's previous destruction, intercepted messages, and testimonies from survivors across the galaxy. Humans were showing the Empire that their actions were being watched, recorded, and shared. They were no longer silent. Across distant planets, beings who had lived in fear now saw Earth's message. They began to rise, inspired by humanity's defiance. Civilizations that had long hidden or obeyed out of fear now understood they were not alone. A wave of quiet courage spread across star systems, shifting the balance in ways the Empire had not predicted. Earth's wrath was not destruction. It was awakening, a reminder that power without conscience is never absolute. On Earth, life continued, but nothing felt ordinary anymore. Streets were busy, but conversations were different. People spoke of unity, courage, and responsibility. Governments worked together in ways they had never dreamed possible. Scientists celebrated breakthroughs, not for fame or profit, but because each discovery meant safety for billions. Teachers told children stories about cooperation and bravery, showing that the future depended not just on weapons, but on the way humans treated one another. Even daily tasks felt important. Farmers harvesting crops, engineers repairing systems, and delivery workers carrying supplies all understood that their work was part of a larger mission. The sense of purpose was everywhere. Humanity had learned that courage was not just facing fear, it was continuing to act in spite of it. In the weeks that followed, Earth's actions began to ripple across the galaxy. The Empire, which had once relied on fear and intimidation, was forced to reconsider its strategy. Resistance movements grew stronger. Communication networks that had been hidden from humans suddenly became active. Beings from other planets sent messages of support, some offering technology, some offering guidance, some simply offering words of solidarity. Humans realized something profound. They had thought survival meant hiding, waiting, and hoping. But survival had never been passive. It was about making choices, taking responsibility, and standing together. The Empire had underestimated humans not because of strength, but because of spirit. And spirit, once awakened, cannot be destroyed. As Earth continued to prepare for whatever came next. The survivors from the destroyed planet stood alongside humans, teaching them, guiding them, and learning from them in return. They had lost their home, but in helping Earth, they found hope again. Together, Humans and survivors built something new, a defense network. Yes, but also a network of trust, understanding, and courage. People around the world began to feel that change in their daily lives. Children played games where they imagined exploring stars together. Adults discussed ideas for communities that could survive anything. Scientists dreamed of reaching other worlds not to conquer, but to connect. And every day, no matter where someone looked, there was evidence that humanity had grown not in power alone, but in unity, responsibility, and awareness. Then came the moment that would be remembered forever. Earth sent another message to the Empire, not as a threat, but as a statement. We are awake. We are not afraid. We will protect our world and help others do the same. Freedom is not a choice, it is our responsibility. The Empire, seeing this, did not attack. They retreated, not in defeat, but in hesitation, unsure of what to do next. Humans had surprised them, not with firepower, but with resilience, intelligence, and courage. For the first time, the galaxy saw that power could not always dominate will, that fear was not absolute, and that unity could shift the balance of forces in ways even the strongest could not predict. On Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Families gathered, not only to mark the moment, but to understand its meaning. It was not a victory in the traditional sense. No one had fired the first shot, and no one had been destroyed. The victory was in understanding that courage, knowledge, and unity could change the world. People hugged, laughed, cried, and reflected on what had brought them here. The survivors from the destroyed planet stood with humans as equals now, sharing stories, hopes, and dreams. Their loss had been enormous, but together a new purpose was born, to ensure no other civilization suffered in silence again. Earth had become a symbol, a reminder that even when faced with overwhelming odds, life could resist, endure, and inspire. At night, when the sky was clear and the stars shone like diamonds, people paused to look up. They remembered the first broadcast, the fear, the loss, and the anger. But now they also saw possibility. They saw hope. They saw connection. And they felt something stronger than fear, the determination to protect what mattered, not for power, not for glory, but for life itself. The final realization settled slowly into human minds. The Empire had underestimated something powerful, an eternal human spirit. And that spirit, once awakened, would not rest. Earth had faced fear, and in doing so, had shown the galaxy what it truly meant to stand together. The universe had witnessed the wrath of Earth, but it was a wrath of courage, unity, and the unwavering choice to protect life. And as the days continued, humans worked quietly, diligently, and fearlessly, knowing that the future was theirs to shape. The challenge was far from over, but Earth had taken its first true step into the stars. No longer afraid, no longer silent, and no longer alone. In the hearts of billions, one thought burned brightly: freedom is not given. It is defended, and together we will defend it.